is Tolulokpe Hipitola. The purpose of this program, has I always mention, is to inspire other people. Like someone would say that it's only mediocres that would always wait to learn from their lesson, from their own life experience. Bright people will learn from other people's experience. And that is why this show has been created, for people out there to learn from people who have been through a path or who are walking through a path, to gain inspiration, to learn lessons, and to know how to do some things in order not to fall victim or to do it in the wrong way. And don't forget that if you have any inspiring story that you want to share with the world as your own contribution to the world, it doesn't have to be money all the time. There are things that are worth more than money. If that is what you have to share your story with the world to inspire someone out there, please do well to send me a DM. You can also reach me on tolulokpeibitola21@gmail.com. We'll be glad to have you on this show. I have an amazing woman that will be bringing on to this show, and yeah, she's here with us already. I've known Lady Gwen for years, and when you talk about someone who is consistent, that is one thing I so much appreciate and admire about her. She's someone. She's a true example of what you would say. You know what you want and you go for it. She doesn't settle for less, and that is why I'm inspired by life's life experiences, our life stories, which I would want people out there to also gain from our wealth of experience. Lady Gwen, the granddaughter.
Yeah,
Mama, it's good to have
exactly.
you here. It's good to have you here. And
Thank you.
uh, she's had so many experiences in the media, and presently she's the lead consultant of Lady Gwen Media. Uh, my viewers, welcome with me, Miss Gwendolyn Oshoniyi.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You have something to our viewers?
Yes, it's really great, to be here with you. She is all out there, and I am right here in Nigeria. So it's really, nice to hook up with every one of you. And I hope that, we will learn one or two things. We will be encouraged. We will be revived, at the
Mhm.
end of this live feed.
Lady Gwen, um,
Yes.
let me put it this way. Can you share with us a memorable experience in your childhood? In your childhood, just one memorable experience that you had in your childhood.
I don't know. Okay. There are there are there are maybe some, but I think it was this is quite memorable, but a very sad one.
Hmm.
And I think it changed, our lives forever as children in the family. And every one of us, in the family, we all reacted differently.
Mhm.
From my father to my late sister to my brother to myself, we all reacted differently. Even her family also reacted differently. And that is to talk about, the loss of my mother
Hmm.
at a young age. That is one thing that I don't think I will ever forget.
Hmm.
That is one incident or situation I don't think I will ever forget, because it was I didn't understand what it meant for one's mother to just take a leave. And back then, nobody tells you, um, your mom, you're not going to see your mom again. Nobody
Hmm.
explains to you. Everybody is just doing one thing or the other, crying and trying to
Hmm.
see to the burial, and those
What
ones
age
that
is
will
this
want
you're
to.
talking about?
Sorry.
At what age is this you're talking about?
I'm not even too sure. I can't really remember, but I'm
Wow.
I'm sure I wasn't even up to. I'm not. I think I wasn't even up to maybe 10.
Wow.
Maybe less than 10, or
Hmm.
because she's been gone for like over 30 years, even maybe like 40 years. So maybe I'm in my 40s. So maybe she's been gone when I was 10 or less than. I can't even remember. But I remember that, she was taken away. And I also remember that I wouldn't be seeing her anymore. So that's quite memorable,
Mm.
and had negative impact as well.
Well, I'm really so sorry about that, but this is you here now,
Yes.
doing well for yourself, and I'm so sure she will be proud, looking down and saying, "Yeah, that's my daughter."
Yeah,
Thank
true,
you for
true.
making her proud. So, despite the fact that you, having told us that your mother was not there during your growing up years, your teenage years, how were you able to cope with the society and things that they expected a girl to do? Like, I was then growing up without a mother. Were there times you really just want to call her out, like, Mom, why are you not here?
Oh yeah, there were lots of times, even, well, still there are still moments like that, that I wish my mother, was around.
Hmm.
I've heard about praying mothers who would help you to fashion your life
Mhm.
pattern, advise you, where you have some challenges. I've heard how some mothers will go to prayer houses, even the babalawos, go
Yeah,
extra
to
mile,
that extent.
because they just want their children to be delivered or to be saved or to be one thing or the other. But whether you want to say even to church or someone to pray in a Christian manner, I had none. I
Hmm.
had no mother. So that is something that, constantly I miss.
Hmm.
Having to be able to have a shoulder to lean on and someone who will carry your pain.
Yeah.
Because mostly a good mother, would carry your pain, really.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, your pain becomes theirs. So
Yeah.
that is something I'll say, I've learned to cope with. But talking about expectations, um, I'm not too sure that I lived among people who were expecting so much
Hmm.
or expecting at all. But the because we grew up with my father, so it
Yeah.
was more like how best he could train us was what he
Mhm.
did. And how best he could train us was make sure you go to school. I will give you anything that money can buy in
Hmm.
terms of education, anything outside education, whether you want to talk about you're doing your period, you need to have tampons, sanitary
Yeah.
pads, or sanitary wear. In fact, he never discussed anything like that. And
Hmm.
I had a stepmother that was a, when you say typical of a stepmother, so she was like that.
Nigerian typical stepmother.
Even though
Uh,
she's late now, but she was, I didn't even expect initially. I was expecting her to be that mother,
hmm.
to go beyond just being called or referred to as mommy.
Mommy,
I was expecting, but as time went by, when I realized that
there's
mommy
no more there.
is just a name you
Hmm.
call someone that married your father and is old enough to be your mom. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that that person is your mom. So
Hmm.
when I realized that, I took my own freedom and to say my life is in my hands, and it was tough, really
Hmm.
growing up. It was really tough,
Hmm.
and there were so many things about life, boys that I didn't understand, and I was naive and so many
Hmm.
other things. But in
Hmm.
all of it, I think they became my experience, and they became my lessons that
Hmm.
I can share with other people. And basically it was really tough, um, growing up. It was tough. There was the other expectation, probably when I started mingling with girls of my age or friends or going to school, was they expected me to know
A lot.
certain things. People were expecting me to have this knowledge, but I didn't. Okay.
Mm.
So a lot of times it's to ask your friends, oh, so what happens? What do you think? And sometimes, sharing from your peer group may not really be
May not be
the
the
best
best.
of it all. Exactly. And then when I started, going to school, it was when knowing guys and having boyfriends, and a guy comes to your hostel or comes to your house and he says, I'm hungry, and you're like, okay, let me do soup for you, let me do, and you're thinking, I'm going to wow this guy so that I can see that I'm a married material. And then you finish cooking and the guy just like, sorry, I'm not hungry again, I'd like to go. And that's
What?
simply because I remember a particular situation. I cooked okra, this ilala sepo,
Yes.
the mixed concoction okra with the
Mhm.
pepper, with the, all of those. And the palm oil, I'm not lying, I'm not, it's funny, but I'm not lying. That's
Okay.
actually. And then it was also dark. It was also dark by the time I finished. It was no, so I was using, I think, my torch from
Mhm.
my
The
phone. So by
phone
the time I was like, I sweated to do
to
these
make this
things,
soup.
to make this soup, and this guy didn't eat. What could have been? He just saw it, and what could have been the matter? So I looked at it. Guess what? The palm oil
Mhm.
was afloat. The
Oh,
palm oil, the palm oil came together, afloat, and then there was water in between, and the sediment had okra.
really?
The
I used
Yes,
to think that things like this are fiction. That
they are not. They are not. It happened to me. They are not. So I was like, yay, Modaro. This is what I actually made, and I tasted it. It was nice though. And then I think it was salty. So
Mm.
apparently, I told my friend, I cried. I was like, I don't know how to cook. I was never
Mm.
taught how to cook. So I said to myself, one of the things I will learn to do is to cook. All right.
Mm.
I'm not learning to cook so that I can become a good wife. It's not for me. Cooking is not a criteria to being a
To be a
good
good
wife.
wife.
Yes, neither is it a criteria to being a good woman for
Mm.
me. And maybe as we discuss,
Yeah.
we'll get to
Okay.
that part.
So
So,
let's kindly complete your thoughts. I just didn't want us to dwell so much on this so that we can talk about many other aspects.
right, yeah,
Okay, okay. So I understand you went to University of Ife. Uh,
right, yes.
okay, and you studied
Quantity surveying, quant
quantity survey.
surveying.
I wanted to say so. And before I realized that it was quantity survey you studied, I used to think you studied English language because you were so much in the media, and
I know.
until recently, when I saw you celebrating as professor in the quantity survey department, and you wrote something like you finished on the that department, I was so shocked. Like, wow! I used to think it was easy. So, considering the fact that you didn't study English and there
Yeah.
was no communications department in Ife, how did you get yourself? How did you find yourself in the media and doing so well for yourself?
Okay. Yeah, I went to Ife and I studied. Even before going to Ife, I had my OND in building technology and quant surveying. Then I went to Ife to do quant surveying, and I finished. You know, and that was where I met the professor, Professor Jagboro, that you were
Yeah.
talking about. Yes. Um, I had always wanted to be an actress.
Okay.
That was actually my lifelong dream and vision. I wanted to be an actress, but back then parents would always say, you want to turn to a show, to a prostitute. And So in order to you know, give my father that confidence that okay, oh, I'm going to do something else. I said I was going to do law. So my intent was when I finish, I will find my way back to acting or theater arts. So it became like, oh, it's for lazy people. It's for lazy people. Blah blah blah. So I continued with quant surveying. But by the time along the line, I was into um, uh, theater arts or theater performances. There, I met late Auntie Frank Boye, who was the cousin to Fela Anikulapo Kuti.
Mhm.
Um, by the way, she died like I think months or something, like 2 months after Fela died. They were so close. So
Okay.
Frank Boye encouraged me, to join a group, a theater group in Lagos back then. A lot of people were there, Yinka Davies. So many people started from there. So I went along and then I was doing bits and pieces. And by the time, after some time, I realized that theater arts needs to for me to devote my time, and quantity
Mhm.
surveying as well. I needed to devote my time, so that was how I just said, let me concentrate on quantity surveying. And then along the line, I think along the line, I began to fall in love with media, with
Mhm.
radio, especially seeing such people like CNA Razak Lawal, Ruth Benebese Opia, Tokubo Ajayi, Fumi Yoda. So
Yeah.
I just went, to meet Fumi Yoda, and I said I wanted to understudy her, and that was it.
Hmm.
And from there, I started doing my own production, having my own program, and voila, here we are.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So, talking about your experiences now, one would say that you're so intentional about your life, what you want to do. And when we look into the society now, we realize that our young ones, especially, are just particular about the money. They are just after the money, not about the processes. You've talked about how you've been here, been there, and eventually went to someone to mentor you into the media. So, but these days we find young girls who just want to make money. Just recently we had 19, 20-year-old boys killing someone just to have money. What would you say to this kind of thing, as the value of hard work is just gradually declining in the society?
Right. Well, it's a very serious issue, really, because what I realize is that the process is very long.
Hmm.
Going through the process is could be very long. It's hard work, and I mean, imagine how we met. We met on a particular
Oh,
production many years ago.
yeah.
Uh-huh. And you were on the production side, handling the production. I was a presenter. If you look at even producing that show, it was the
Yeah,
process.
it
And it
was.
was, if you remember, there was nothing fun about the
It
process.
wasn't.
It wasn't. But people get to see you on TV and they're like, oh, I want to be like this person. They don't want to go through the process because it's long and hard. And that's why a lot of people are half baked.
Hmm.
They are not. They are, there is a lot of mediocrity in the system, whether in entertainment, whether in business, in construction, in banking, whatever industry you want to call it, because people did not go through the process. You see, the process itself is a varsity. It is a learning tool. It is a learning curve
Yeah.
that when some schools, without you even having your masters, some schools will say if you've had this long years of training on the
Experience.
job,
Yeah.
experience on the job,
Yes.
automatically we are giving you your professorate. Some schools will say that because it's almost like you're they believe that your lifetime on that job, has earned you that. What more can we teach you?
Mm-hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you understand? If
I
you
can really
spent
relate to
20
that.
years,
Mm-hmm.
20 years, the only thing is, okay, now, how do you now get your certificate? That's why people will now be going through the master's, PhD, and all of that, because of the certificate. But if you look at it, the experience you have is supposed to be your learning. And because people don't want to go through that, they want it quick and sharp, they want it right now. And then those people that they look up to don't make things look good, in the sense that, okay, you've never heard of Burna Boy, and suddenly you start hearing this guy, smoking weed, doing all sorts of things, and you just feel that the guy just arrived on the scene. You too, you want to arrive on
Both
the
have
scene.
stuff like that.
Yes, you want to arrive on the scene. You want to wear what he's wearing. Sometimes you need to ask yourself questions, how is he getting his money, or how is she getting her money? So if I'm looking up to an actress, or a musician or an actor who is always having girls, every now and then, all around him, flocking around him, and you want to be that G, at the end of the day, you're going to get into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also feel that a lot also has to do with parenting. You
Exactly.
know how they used to tell us, remember the child of whom you are. And the way they will say it safe, you don't want to go out to disgrace your parents. You don't want to go out there and ruin their good name. They will
Mm-hmm.
tell you, money I don't have, but I have a good name. So now people don't even care about the good name anymore. They just want to make it. I don't care about which home, because that importance, that value has not been instilled, into them. And then the sense of get rich quickly, all of this flamboyancy and all of that doesn't help. But
Yeah.
trust me, a lot of ways, a lot of times, it ends and turns to destruction. Look at hush puppy.
Hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
After making all of that money, after duping people millions and billions and all that, is spending the money in prison, in
He's not
jail.
even spending the money. How would he spend money in prison? His life is just there in the jail. Okay.
Exactly. So
Um,
at the end of the day, it's shame and reproach.
yeah, thank you so much for that piece of advice. If you are a parent listening out there, this is very instructive for you and even for every one of us that all these values we're talking about, it begins at home. If you cannot instill them in your child right from home, that is when they get outside and start misbehaving. The charity begins at home, like I always say. Start with your child at home so that the society can be a better place. Thank you so much. So, like we said, that this is going to be the Valentine edition. So now let's go quickly into relationship. And I want to ask. I know that's kind of
I
cute
love
somehow.
love.
I know.
I love love.
So, Lady Gwen, I understand you're not married and you've come this far. You've done so well for yourself. Um, what
Wait,
do you
wait,
say?
wait, wait. I'm not married. I'm not
You want to, you want to dance with another guy?
Praise God.
You
Okay, so
and
please go
you're
ahead.
doing so well for yourself, and I want to ask that. What do you have to say to people who think, especially women, who think that they have to get married before they can be successful? That success depends on a man or on marriage.
Right. Okay. So marriage is good.
Yes.
Marriage is wonderful when, or I don't want to say if, or maybe
Mm,
let me say if you marry the, what we will say, the right person, so to say. And really there is no right person. You make things right in most cases, and you compromise, you patch things up, but sometimes you also need to figure out what you can what you can accept, what you can live by. For instance, if I can't stand a man who
Mm-hmm.
is always snoring, or who is, the way guys normally pack what is in between their legs, their third leg, the way they normally pack it and adjust it.
Yeah.
If that has become him, and you know that you can't stand it,
Mm-hmm.
you know it's that itself might be an issue in the long run in the relationship. But if it's something that you can, like, okay, well, there is no big deal to it. What I'm trying to say is, you marry someone you can cope with, or what you can cope with. So marriage is good,
Yeah.
fantastic. um but then again, I in my life journey, I realized that being married or
Mm-hmm.
not married does not actually reduce you or
Yeah.
add to you. If you're not complete as a man or as a woman, and you're going into marriage, that becomes a big issue. That itself, you're not complete. Your incompleteness in yourself will become the cocoa of the
That
marriage,
is.
will become the problem, the matter that you people will be worshiping and serving in that marriage. So how does an unhappy marriage becomes your life?
Hmm.
How does you not being married, you know, reduces your value? But I think in our society, because I was saying in church today that when you're not married, sometimes people don't accord you, certain respect because you're not married, you don't
Yeah.
have kids and all of that. And, what they might want to call Mrs. Bitola, and then someone like me, they could just say, Gwen,
Yeah.
how are you? So I mean, I get a lot of that, a
Hmm.
lot. Even there are some of my friends, they're married, they're accomplished, their children are all grown and all that. And sometimes you can smell their disrespect,
Hmm.
and their questioning. They look down on you and at you, and they feel that you have a problem if you're not married, especially at this age. But it now depends on you to either accept their validation or to reject
Hmm.
their proposition or their validation. The moment you keep living your life according to what people dictate to you, then you are going to have a lot of problem. Because if you think that I'm not complete, what if I get divorced tomorrow or I marry tomorrow? Then your thought of me changes. Then what if I get divorced tomorrow? Then
Yeah.
it changes again. So at every point in time where it changes, it will have to always affect my emotions. So I feel that a lot of people need to start living their life as unto God, and not as onto looking at their completeness, their purpose in life, to be, I must be a Mrs. In
Jesus.
heaven, we've been told as Christians, I don't know what Islam says though, but as Christians, we've been told by that parable that was asking Jesus, that man that was asking Jesus, out of all these four men, who is going to be this woman's husband when they get to heaven? And you know what Jesus said? In heaven, that analogy will not even start, because every man, there is no marriage.
Every man to himself.
Every man to himself. There is no Mr. Me. It is, marriage is just for the enjoyment of this marketplace called the world. So if you begin to look at yourself that my respect, my value, my worth comes from that ring, then you will have a problem. The day the husband works out on you, then you are nobody, because
Yeah.
that is what you have set in your mind. That is how
Yes.
you have defined yourself. But what about great values of consistency, integrity, kindness, you know, sowing seed, the things you can do to change the world. I tell you, there are so many unmarried men and women who are influencing the world, who are changing the world. And there are so many unmarried, as well as they suffer from depression and loneliness every now and then. But I tell you, I don't even know the ratio now, but I meet too many, so many unfulfilled married men and women, so many unhappy, depressed married men and women, just because they're married. Do you understand? Their
Yeah.
dreams and vision were buried just because
Okay.
of marriage.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good to be married. It's good to be loved and to love. I tell you, I kid you not. It's so wonderful to be loved and to be loved. To love and to be loved. But it's got to be right.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Thank you so much, Lady Gwen. So if you are someone out there, you don't have a partner now, there are other good things you can do for yourself while still being single. If you don't have a partner now, doesn't mean you would never have a partner if that's what you wish for anyway. But to now think that you need to have a partner, you must have a partner before you can do well, before you can be successful. Yeah, it's good to have a partner, but do not limit yourself to just having a partner. There are better and greater things you can do than having a partner. So, Lady Gwen, you talked about loneliness. I'm going to be looking at the comment section. Um, Let me quickly ask this question. Then we go to the comment section to see if we have questions. Please kindly share this video. Click the reaction button, put down your thoughts, and we'll quickly address those ones too. You talked about loneliness while talking. I want to ask, how do you handle loneliness? Because you confirmed that a lot of
oh,
people
lonely.
go through this loneliness and
I'm so
depression.
lonely. Yeah, loneliness is not an imagination of the mind. Um, it's real, and but then you need to also look at being alone. The feel of being alone we'll talk about in the existence, in the human existence. You know, you're standing alone. There is nobody for you.
Hmm.
There is God is not for you. Nobody is for you. You are just living. It's just you and you alone. That feel of being alone. Some people have it who are not married. But that's why I keep saying that in the journey of becoming, those are things that men and women who are going through the waiting period must work towards. Now, loneliness is something that I think it's normal. It's a feeling, you know, where when a desire is not being met, you know, you feel lonely, and it comes and it goes. So how you're going to deal with it is very important. I'm not going to deny, I am someone who I don't deny my negative emotions. You know, if I'm happy, I don't deny it. If I'm sad, I don't go over spiritualizing things and say, oh, you know, yeah, I will quote the scripture, I will believe in the word of the Lord, but I don't over spiritualize to say, no, I'm not supposed to be sad, I'm not supposed to be angry, you know. But to now let anger, you know, for me to go down, for the sun to go down on my
Anger.
emotion and not a hair is what I try not to do. Now, looking at myself, you know, I get lonely. That's the truth of the matter. I get lonely. And but then how I overcome these things is that I bury myself in work. Every now and then I have projects, you know, maybe running media outfits or managing a media outfit. I'm on a project or something. That in itself keeps me very, very, very busy. I mean, you go out in the morning or you're awake from 4 a.m. or 5, and you're out of the house maybe like 6 or something, and then you come back home, it's 10, 11, you know. And sometimes, yeah, you have great events, hangouts, and weekends, you know, you're just busy. And I remember that when I don't want to say many years back, maybe like 10 years, you know, um, I am someone who I live in my own world.
Mm-hmm.
But then the danger with that is that you think, because it's like everything is in your head.
Yeah.
So you're thinking a lot, you're brainstorming on too many things,
Things
you
like that.
are you are just thinking, you know, and you gradually draw into maybe a phase where you might not be happy. So what I decided to do is, when I'm beginning to not feel myself, when I'm not feeling the joy, I just leave my house and I go to I had this family friends, and I still do. They're actually my pastors, uh, Reverend Sam and Tokwe Eboigbe.
Okay.
Then I would just go to their home, to their house. They had children, like 4 children, or you know, when we started with 1, 2. By the time, they call me Mommy Wendy. By the time this one is tugging at my hair, you know, I'm smacking that one, shouting, "Leave it, sit down." My dear, my life is
The
just
emotional is
filled.
gone.
Loneliness will not have space. Do you
Hmm.
understand? Like, you know, so when I'm beginning to feel, get into that space, I occupy myself with other greater things. And
Mm-hmm.
seriously, they're feeling, they keep me going for a long time. I mean, some people will tell me, are you sure you behave like you're happy you don't want to get married? Is it that you don't want to get married? Don't you even think about these things? That's because you're not wearing that
You know,
look. You know, all
fix.
my flesh is not wrinkled because I'm not married,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, you know. So I would advise people, you know, to fill their life with great things. Go out, you know, have friends who makes you laugh, you know, being great companion of great minds.
Yeah. Thank
That's, yeah.
you. Thank you for that piece of advice. So my next, okay, before I go to my next question, I think there's a question here. Let's quickly attend to this. Ademola Adeshola says, thanks, Lady Gwen, for your fascinating and frank insight. My question, if time allows you to get to it, is about your growing up. Was it about your growing up years that have contributed to, trying to my question, if time allows you to get to it, is about your growing up. Was it about your growing up years that have contributed to who you are today? I mean, values that shaped who you are now.
Mm, I would say, talking about values that shaped me, um, first of all, being audacious. My father was that kind of person that would just plunge you into the river, you know, like just just go and do
Don't
things.
sort
You
yourself.
you go and sort yourself out, you know. So it made me to look out for myself. All
Hmm,
right. So that's one thing. And I'm still looking out for me.
hmm,
Okay. The only thing is that I've also allowed Christ to invest in me, to understand that in looking out for myself all the time, I could become aggressive, I
hmm.
could become selfish, and to just be watching, it's all about me, 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 you know. And allowing Christ, you know, to invest in me is to say, look, the way I used to react to things or to people, I'm a no nonsense person and all of that. It's got to change. You've got to be a little bit softer, a little bit diplomatic, and that's bringing in wisdom.
Yeah.
So I would say that being audacious. I remember, you know, I started doing youth conferences, not even having money. I would go to different organizations for support and all of that. and go to schools, bring children, and I wasn't making money from all these things. So one of the value I'll say that my father tried to instill in us was that audacious spirit. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that. Ademola Adeshola, I hope she has been able to answer your question satisfactorily. Okay, so my next question is this day is this time is that of social media, and you see a lot
Yeah.
of people on Facebook, on Instagram, getting married today, jubilating tomorrow, all about marriage and loved ones, showing off relationship. uh how, when you see these things, is there a way it affects you? How do you deal with your own waiting when you just go online and the next thing you see somebody that you carried getting married, or saying this is who I'm with now? How do you deal with that?
Okay, if I tell you that stuff like that sometimes don't affect one, I think I will not be sincere. I remember there was a day I was happy, I was, excited. It's a brand new day. I'm going to take the world. And then I get to open Facebook, and I saw a friend of mine, one of those old schoolmates, and she had pictures of our husband, children, their new home, and I was like, yeah, wow, now, wow, God, now, God,
When
why? And had our first child was looks like maybe 20 or something, is in university, and I worked. But then when I got out, I also, at some point in my life, I just said to myself, my dear, I need to be sane.
hmm,
Social media cannot, now kill me. I need to be sane. Not just social media, even my space, my
yeah,
everything around me.
okay.
So what I sometimes do is, because when we begin to see what constitute barriers in our mind or in our life, could be as a result of, number one, the things we see, the things we hear, the things we are being told. So I had a problem with the things I see. I
Mhm.
see younger people, or people that had even that were my babies, like they were
Like,
not even in university when I finished. And I see
like
their
me.
posts, oh, married and having children. So sometimes at some point, what I did was I unfollowed a lot of bridal magazines, blogs or event blogs, and I began to work on my mind, on myself, to say, look, yeah, they're married. What they married is different from what God is bringing for me.
Hmm,
Their race is not my race.
that's all.
My journey is not their journey.
Mhm.
The things that I am looking for is not what they are looking for. All
Hmm.
right. I mean, I've met someone who I was dating, and the guy could not understand, why are you doing conferences?
Hmm.
For what? I don't understand. Why are you using your money? You call people to get. He didn't understand it. Imagine I got married to someone like that. We will always have conflict, because I want to use our money, or my money, or our money, to do conferences, change lives, go to outreaches, villages, and all that. And he's like, look, be selfish, save your money. So already within a line. So whatever it is that is good for you, I bless God for you.
Hmm.
I bless God for your life. But our journey, our stories, God's purpose or purposes are different.
Mhm.
Are different. What God has called you into, and the kind of man you have chosen or He has given to you, is different from what God has called me into, and the kind of man that He's
That's
preparing me for, or preparing to bring into my life. All of those things are different. And for heaven's sakes, while I'm on that waiting list, I there are still a lot to be done. a lot to be done. So if it means that your testimony, your blessing is going to make me to doubt God, my dear, I go follow you. I go
Yeah.
follow you. I go delete you from my contact. And I remember I once had a schoolmate. This girl is far younger than myself. All right. And I reported her to some, I'm not going to mention names. I've forgiven her, but I can
Mm,
never forget.
mm.
Okay. Because I don't take crap. I know. And
I
I don't
know.
allow people to box me into their crap, their
Mm,
mindset. No. I won't take it. I don't take it. So that's why for me, I don't really
I
always
think
going to be telling me,
you're
oh, you are not
hanging in there.
married. Oh, you're not married. You're not this. You're not that. You're not. I don't usually have that because I don't allow people to bring that stuff to me.
Mm,
So they know
space.
me. Yes. So this girl back then, she sent me. She didn't even ask me, "What have you? Are you doing? Do you have a job? Are you surviving now?" You. She just said. She said, "Ah, you won't go and get married. Be
Wow.
there. Oh. Time.
Wow.
You don't know that your time is passing. Your time.
Wow.
Oh,
How can people be so
oh, oh."
blunt
I,
that
in
way?
fact, I wanted to wrap a love gift of curses and
Hmm.
said, I dash you.
Hmm.
Because the fact that you're married now and you married young, you married good, does not guarantee that your marriage is going to last. Does not guarantee that the husband, the wife is not going to die early.
Hmm.
It doesn't guarantee anything because we are all living by the grace and mercy of God. So if it hasn't happened for me, don't think, oh, she has high standard. I mean, I get that a lot
Hmm.
because I like to dress and look good. I wear all of the jewelries, bling bling. They say, oh, you have high, or could it be that you have high standard? And
Standard.
I ask, what is high standard? That you want a man who who probably accepts your ideologies or your perception towards life, or because you want a man that probably, I'm not even saying he has to be tall, short. No, no, no. If the mind and the vision, if they're not aligning, no, it's a no,
Forget
no.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lady Gwen, for that insightful advice. If you are there, don't think because okay. Femi Babatunde is asking, please share secrets to building an enduring career as a media entrepreneur. Okay, we'll be addressing this very soon, Femi Babatunde. But before we do that, I want to ask, please share this video, comment, use the love button, the like button as much as you can. All this I highly appreciated. So before we go to Femi Babatunde's question, I quickly want to ask this question. You talked about standard here, that maybe some people think your standard is high and that is why you're not getting someone or you don't have someone. So what do you say to those, or what's your take, or how do you react to people who come to you like, we want to help you? I know that there will be men like that, that's what, she's in her late in her 40s and she's not married, let's go and help her. What do you say to that, and what do you have to say to people who are there in this in their late 40s and they're experiencing situations like this? Let's help her. After all, she doesn't have anyone.
Well, I really don't see anything bad in well, maybe like referring. You're talking about referring.
Like the
You
manner
know,
of advancement, like the way people just advance to you, or just come to you like, we want to help you.
well,
Like
it
unwanted,
depends.
let me put it as unwanted advance. Like you would even be wondering that, how did this person get here? Like how did he, do I look that because it was because you talked about standard that maybe people will be talking, saying that your standard is high. So that is why I've gotten that question. Like uh how do you relate to people like that, and what's your advice for people who just get unwanted advances?
Oh, okay. Unwanted advances. Um, I think it's. I learned long ago that there is no harm when a crime has not been committed, when someone approaches you, a crime has not been committed. But this is it, because sometimes you can never tell which direction things are going to work out. It could even be that person that you said, you're stupid, you're mad, I'm not interested. Do I look like I'm your mate, or I'm your standard, or something, or see this one, that's to this. Okay, so it could be that to this is what will turn out to be your husband or to be your wife. But how you turn them down, or how I've had to explain to someone and say, look, rather than say you are not my type, in fact, I said, I don't think I'm good enough for you. And I knew that was a lie. I knew that wasn't true. In fact, I was like a champion. And I don't want to end up with a husband or a man who sees me as, one trophy. So I said, I'm not good for you. I think God will bring a woman that matches you. And when you see her, you say, oh, thank God. So there are ways in which you turn the other person down, without making them feel like go to hell and come back and jump into lagoon and let the devil capture their soul. There are ways in which you can tell them nicely. Okay, but sometimes you need to be firm. On Facebook, a lot of times I get private messages from people whom will just say hi babe or baby. I want to know you. And I'm like, okay.
How did we get here?
Exactly. So what I do, sometimes I just block such a person straight up. Block such a person straight up. All right. Sometimes you need to stand your ground.
Yeah.
And sometimes you realize, in my experience, you realize that the men we lower our standards for are usually the ones that even mess us up the most. Because they do not know the gold that is in you, the value of this gold. They don't understand it. So because they've had it, they trivialize you, they mess you up, they might be unkind, self-centered, selfish, and they might even be childish, and you're wondering, how did I do this to myself? So when unwanted advances come, you need to weigh your option. Let them know nicely. God has given us wisdom. Yeah. Let them know nicely you're not interested. Don't get cocky or insulting. Oh, you're very stupid. Do you think that I can date someone like you? There are better ways to say it. God is actually preparing a greater woman for you. The guy, his head will like
that way smoothing his ego, like, okay, someone better is coming. All right, let's quickly address Femi Babatunde's question. It says, please share secrets to building an enduring career as a media entrepreneur.
To building
an enduring career as a media entrepreneur.
Okay, you see that one, easy at all. No, it is not easy. But number one, consistency. You need to be consistent doing what you're doing, and people need to get to know that you're in that industry. Number two, you need to network. Constantly networking with industry fellow. There are some events that I go to that I sometimes feel that, I don't even have business going for this event, but I go because I need to show face. I need to let people know that I still do. I still did this industry. Oh. Don't pass me by. Oh. So there are these are things you need to do. And then you need to also show your relevance.
Mhm.
I've talked about consistency. All right. I've talked about networking with the industry audience. I'm also talking about relevance, adding value to the people and to the industry.
Hmm.
So that way, it keeps you going, and you can, with time, be recognized to have had a long years
Mhm.
of and like you said, there is no money in media, in entertainment, in media. It's just the face, the glamour. But
Yeah.
you've now got to diversify your talent. But it all still depends on your tenacity, your ability to stay put. Stay put, get creative, evolve.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank
Mhm.
you for answering Femba Batunde's question. I hope that is well answered. If you need more explanation, you can put it in the comment section. I'm sure Lady Gwen will attend to other questions in the comment section after this show. So I want to quickly ask so that it won't be that this is just all about women. For men, you see, in the society, you hear people saying that is not married. How can he call himself responsible? They say that a man who is not married cannot be responsible. What's your take on that?
That is wrong. I mean, those are foolish thinking that we must fight against. We must, try to surmount, and we must shield people from, and also get ourselves well educated.
Mhm.
I've met, I did say, I've met lots of people. They are the ones paying bills. They are the ones that send their I don't know about that responsibility. I don't even understand what that being responsible or irresponsible mean.
They say
Or
that if you don't
probably
have a wife at home, how can you say you're responsible? You don't have someone who you can say, I'm the head of this home, who you can direct to, you can say, take money for this, take. So how would you say you're responsible? That's, I hear people talk
see
about, especially
in
in
this
the
day and time, so long as you are part of any family, you are responsible and you are making money. Have you ever seen any single man? In fact, the fact that you're not even married, that
Mhm.
brings all the responsibility of this world
On you.
into your life, because they believe, what are you doing with
What
money?
are you doing with your
So
money?
send, yeah, so send everybody to school. Do for all the extended families, friends, and foe, because they feel that you don't have a family. So I don't believe in that. And I
Hmm.
think every our responsibility, being that sense of being responsible, should not come from marriage at all. If you're not going to be responsible, it is a character defect.
Hmm. Hmm.
It is a personality defect. If you're
Hmm.
not going to be responsible, if you're going to be a
You're responsible.
useless entity, it is a personality something something, not
Because there
marital
are people who are
status.
even married that are as irresponsible as anyone can think of. So, uh,
Exactly,
thank you for that.
exactly.
So, I want to quickly ask this. This should be my last question. Or what do you say about referral or online dating? What's your view
Okay.
on that?
Online dating. I think when as I grew up, I was like, online dating, okay, like, you will meet all manner of people online, all kinds of people, riffraffs, and all of them online. And how do you dissect, which is which, if they're telling the truth and all that. But I think as technology, as became wiser, I realized that online dating, there is nothing bad about it. But for those who practice it, I mean, I had a friend who almost got married to someone through one of the
On
dating app. And she was so intentional. If you come, I'm not, and you are married, or or you say you want friendship, she's not doing friendship. It is know
Married.
what you want. Once she looks at your bio, or she asks you, you don't, you are like, I just like,
I'm looking
she,
for that.
so she got somebody, but by the time they started relating, it didn't work out
Mm.
because personality differences, desires and all of that. So there is nothing bad about it, but you need to be very, very careful, especially women, because I realize that a lot of women, mature women, most especially, they have the money, they are independent. The only thing is they're not married, they're successful. And there are a lot of predators
Mhm.
out there, a lot of liars, even
Mm.
with the women too. But
Mm.
in many of these online spaces, you find a lot of men that are just looking for free apple,
Mm. Huh. Mm.
free women,
Free money.
desperate, free money,
Desperate women.
desperate women with the money bags.
Mm.
So once you just throw I love you, commit, consistency in communication, don't fall for it. So there are the bad sides and the good side. The same thing with referral. I've had people who didn't even discuss it with me and just told somebody to call me. That one, I know, please don't surprisation me. I don't like being surprised like that. A guy will not call you and like,
Someone gave you the number.
that kind of surprisation, I don't like it. But sometimes it does work out for other people. But there is always a thin line, because you need to know the person. Like now, if I know you, Tolulokpe, I need to know you very well,
Mhm.
or you need to know me very well. If I do like this, if I blink,
You know
Tolulokpe, you
what
know
I'm
what I'm saying. If I do like this, you know what that meant. So if you know the person very well, it will now become easier for you to say, oh, there is this my husband's brother or friend, uncle, kiniko, that will be a good
like.
match. But a lot of times people don't know the other person properly and they're referring. Then referral, relationship referrals are also risky,
Mm.
because by the time you introduce me to your husband's brother, friend,
Brother.
kiniko, the day the thing is not working, Tolulope, go and tell that your husband's brother that kiniko, they will put you in the middle.
Mm.
And maybe he took money from me. Then it will be, go and tell him to
Thank you for
return
your
my
money.
money, go and tell him to return my car, go and tell. So it's very dicey. It's very dicey.
Mm.
And may our good not be evil spoken of. So it could turn out to be different ways. It could work, it could, but I think when you get to a certain point in life, as a mature Christian, mature single, just be open to anything, everything, be open.
Mhm. Thank you so much for that piece of advice. So either referral, either going online, know what you want. Be sure that that is what you want. So I know you have a page on Instagram called Singles with Purpose One. Can you share with us the inspiration behind that
Okay, well,
group?
that came from my own personal, experience or life, that I'm not married, and then I've met quite a couple of people that are mature, not married, maybe 38, 40, their 50s, not married. And then I've also met men who maybe they were separated or divorced, or their wives died, and their life just came to an end, like a stop. And I figured out that if I could have a community where I bring all of those people to, and open their eyes, their minds to some issues, that it doesn't mean that the fact that they're going through this, their lives must come
Doesn't.
to an end. Like I met someone, a great person, not mentioning his name, in Port Harcourt, and he had gone through divorce. By the time I was meeting him, he was a great person, a coach, a mentor to many. He was a great leader and all that. By the time I met this big man, by the time every now and then there is a way he reacts to me, it was the remnant of what he had gone through with his ex-wife, and he was a fearful man. He could not take the risk that a young man, when they see a lady, will take. But he liked me. So by the time I got to the bottom of it, I said to him, when did this marriage thing, when did it happen? 6 years ago, 5 years ago, before I met him. And I'm like, my goodness, that happened 5 years ago, and you're still like this. You need to be healed and made whole. There is a difference between you being healed and being whole again. You know, you need to get your wholeness. And after many years, we meet, we talk. He's always biting his finger like, I met a good woman, but he was in a bad space at that time. He couldn't make it work. So all of those things, you know, I decided, what if I bring, you know, those people together and we have sessions of, we form a community, all right, and teach one another, while you're dating probably a divorcee, a widower, or a widowed man or woman, you know, how, because they all dating someone like that is different from dating a young man who's never been married before. Sometimes if you're dating a man or a woman who has children or who is a single parent, you need to also date their children as well.
Exactly.
and see if you can cope with these baggages. You know, this load that is coming into your life. If you can cope with those children, maybe your intending husband or wife, their children, if you can cope with them, you need to date the children. So it's a different ball game totally. So, and that was how I came about this community.
Okay, thank you for that. So, Singles with a Purpose, one is on Instagram. You can follow to join the community. You don't have to be single to follow. You can just you can be there just to get lessons of life, to meet people, and you can even have someone who is single that you want to invite to the group. Thank you so much, LadyGwen, for being here. You've been a success. You're a success, and I'm so sure your story has inspired someone out there who is thinking that Valentine is here and I don't have a vow. See, you don't have to have a vow before you love yourself. You don't have to have a vow before you can be intentional about yourself. You don't have, listen, she said something about not having a mother. She lost her mother when she was about 10, and this is her hair. So there's no really excuse for you that you don't have someone. I know it can be kind of more challenging, like she mentioned some of her challenges, but if you are intentional and you know what you want for yourself, you will have a better story to tell. Thank you so much. It was such a delight to have you on this show.
Thank you so much. And you know what I normally do on Valentine's?
Okay.
I date Jesus, you know, and sometimes I buy myself gifts, and I remember back in university, I would get people to deliver it and make sure they shout my name, you know. Yes, so whether it's a small cake, Val yourself, or Val, see, you cannot come and kill yourself. Just enjoy your day.
Enjoy life.
Enjoy your life. Some people say it's a pagan event or something. Whatever whatever it is. See, just love the Lord and love yourself. If you feel like celebrating tomorrow, put on good music, buy yourself gifts, you know, teddy bear, flower, put your name. You love yourself. Yes, exactly. So celebrate yourself. That's what matters.
Thank you. So to our viewers that are watching, and if you're going to be watching as a replay, thank you. I also want to hope that you gain something while you're watching as a replay. LadyGwen's story, it's been inspiring. Kindly share a heart tell someone to come and watch, and so many things. So the next edition will be coming very soon. It will be announced. And I want to say thank you again for spending this so much time with us today. So I come your way again. My name is Tolulope Ibitola. Bye. Thank you, Mama.